Hank is Rosie's brother and a helicopter. He is a bright yellow color, with 2 rotors on top of his body that spin quickly to keep him airborne. Hank is a bit smaller than Rosie, but he is just as determined and adventurous. Hank has always looked up to his sister, Rosie, and has dreamed of flying like her. He is a bit more cautious than Rosie, and tends to think things through before taking action. However, he is also very brave and never backs down from a challenge. Hank loves exploring the world and taking on new challenges. He enjoys flying over mountains, forests, and cities, and he loves meeting new people and making new friends. He is always eager to learn new things and improve his flying skills. Although he can be a bit nervous at times, Hank has a strong sense of loyalty and will always stand up for his family and friends. He is a great partner to Rosie, and the 2 of them make a great team, always ready to help each other out when needed. Rosie and her brother, Hank, had always been close. They grew up together at the airport, watching planes and helicopters come and go. Hank was always impressed by his sister's flying skills, and he dreamed of one day flying like her. One day, Hank got his chance. A group of tourists had booked a helicopter tour of the nearby mountains, but their usual pilot had called in sick. The airport was short on pilots, so they turned to Hank. At first, he was nervous and unsure, but he knew that he couldn't pass up this opportunity. As they flew over the mountains, Hank was amazed by the views. He could see for miles in every direction, and the scenery was breathtaking. The tourists were thrilled, and Hank felt a sense of pride and accomplishment. But then, something went wrong. The helicopter's engine began to sputter and the controls became unresponsive. Hank tried his best to keep the helicopter steady, but he knew that they were in trouble. As the helicopter began to lose altitude, Hank radioed the airport for help. Rosie heard the distress call and knew that she had to act fast. She took off in her plane and flew to her brother's rescue. When she arrived, she saw that the helicopter was in a dangerous situation. It was spinning out of control and heading towards a cliff. Rosie knew that she had to act fast. With her expert flying skills, Rosie maneuvered her plane close to the helicopter and was able to guide it safely to the ground. The tourists were shaken but unharmed, and Hank was relieved to be back on solid ground. As they returned to the airport, Rosie and Hank knew that they had made a great team. They had saved the day together, and they both knew that they had each other's backs no matter what challenges they might face in the future. From that day forward, Hank and Rosie were even closer. They flew together often, sharing stories and swapping tips and tricks, and they both knew that they had a bond that could never be broken. They had proved to each other that they were a great team, and they knew that they could always count on each other no matter what challenges they might face. One day, as Rosie and Hank were flying over the ocean, they noticed a distress signal coming from a nearby ship. The ship was a cargo vessel, carrying important supplies to a nearby island, but it had run aground on a reef and was in danger of sinking. Rosie and Hank knew that they had to act fast. They landed on the deck of the ship and saw that the crew was in a panic. Boxes and crates were strewn about, and water was pouring into the hold. Rosie and Hank quickly got to work. Hank used his powerful rotors to lift the heavy crates and move them to safety, while Rosie used her plane to fly back and forth, shuttling supplies and crew members to safety. As the ship began to sink, Rosie and Hank knew that they had to move fast. They worked together to rescue the remaining crew members and get them to safety on the nearby island. As they flew away from the sinking ship, Rosie and Hank felt a sense of pride and satisfaction. They had once again proved that they were a great team, and that they had what it takes to face any challenge that came their way. After they had delivered the rescued crew members to safety, Rosie and Hank decided to take a break and enjoy the island. They explored the lush forests, swam in the crystal-clear waters, and even made some new animal friends. As they relaxed on the beach, Rosie and Hank talked about all the adventures they had been on together. They realized that they had created some amazing memories and that they had become even closer as siblings and partners. With a sense of excitement and anticipation, Rosie and Hank looked forward to all the new adventures that awaited them. They knew that they had a bond that was unbreakable, and that they were ready to face any challenge that came their way, together.